Hello and welcome to this tutorial on the SPIN database. To get to the SPIN database, you would go into the Osprey module in the UNCW web system. So the easiest way to get there is probably just go to the UNCW homepage. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's this search box. Type in Osprey and hit search. Okay. And you'll see that OSPREY is an acronym for the Online Sponsored Programs and Research Enterprise System. And just click on that link. Okay, and then there's an Osprey login link right here. Click that. And this is set up under a single sign-on system. I think it's called SSO or something like that. Meaning, if you're already logged in to the UNCW system, this will recognize that and log you in. If you're not already logged in, you can just log in. And you can see I'm already logged in here. It's basically just signing in with your email login and password. Okay, single sign-on or something it's called. Um, so here's the Osprey page, and SPIN is the first link in this upper left-hand corner. Okay. And SPIN has a pretty clean and simple interface. It's sort of almost like Google, just a single search box here. And it really just simply works off a tab system here. You go on, what I'll do is I'll go through the various tabs today from left to right and just kind of show you how it's set up. Okay, again, it's fairly intuitive. There are three different ways to search in SPIN. There's a simple or basic text search, which is the first option. There's a keyword search option and an advanced search option. I'll go through those. There are also some pre-selected limiters or filters established. So if you're looking for new or recently modified funding opportunities, you can click on that and that will default to newer, recently modified funding opportunities. If you're looking for funding opportunities with impending deadlines, that would be that one there. Limited submission programs here, federal contract opportunities, and non-traditional sources. So those are like sort of pre-selected searches that have already been set up with limiters and filters installed. Okay, so let's start with a basic text search, which is the first option here. And that is just kind of like a Google search. You would type in your keywords. So let's say we were looking for we want to do some research on drugs and drug addiction. Okay, so we would type in drugs. And we got 745 different programs for that. Let's say we wanted to make that a little bit more specific. Okay, let's say we wanted to focus on opioids. Okay, so you would add the word opioids, and the word "and" is implied. So just searching for drugs gets us 745 results. Adding the word opioids says I want to find programs that include the word drugs and the word opioids both together. So we will hit that, and that, of course, narrows it down a fair amount. And then let's say we want to focus on rural populations. So we'll go ahead and add the word rural here. So now what we're saying is we're looking for grant opportunities to study the effects of opioid drugs on a rural population. Okay, and that knocks it down to 28. So that's basically what's called a simple or basic text search. Is you put in the words and it will give you the results. And you can see the way the columns are set up. You've got your SPIN ID number, the name of the grant, the sponsor number, the deadline date, funding amount, and then you can bookmark these, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Okay. You can also do a couple of things like, let's say um, you want results that don't have the word rural. Okay. What you can do, might be better just to do opioids. Let's say I'm looking for results for studies on drugs, but not opioids. I can put a minus sign in front of opioids, and now what I'm saying is I'm looking for programs that have to do with research on drugs, but not including opioids. Okay, so the minus sign will say, I'm looking for this, but not that. Okay, and you can see there's a different number here from when we just inserted the word drugs. Okay, so that's basically a simple or basic text search. Another way of searching is called a keyword search. Keyword search uses what's called a controlled vocabulary. In other words, the grant programs are indexed into certain categories. Let me show you what I mean. So we go up here to search. We switch from a text search to a keyword search, and it's asking me now, do I want to proceed? Because if I change the search mode, I'm going to remove the current search parameters and results, and we do want to proceed with this new search. Okay. So the first thing I want you to note is the connectors, or what are called Boolean operators, are different. In a basic text search, the word "and" is used. It defaults to the word and in a keyword search, it defaults to "or." So "and" is a limiter. You're saying I want this word and that word. "Or" is an expander. You're saying I'm looking for this word or that word, and that expands your search. Okay. So what you do in a keyword search is you click on this link that says select keywords, and you'll notice now that instead of typing in words, you're given a pre-selected list of categories, or of what's called a controlled vocabulary. So category one is sort of the upper level, the biggest level of categories, and you'll see things like science and technology, law, international, geographical regions. And I want you to note down here that in this box it says choose keywords. These categories are duplicated down here with a checkbox. So if you want to select the main category as your keywords, you can just go ahead and put a check mark here, and that will move that into your selected keywords on this side. If you change your mind, simply click on the keyword again, and that will remove that from this box. If you wanted to drill down and try to get more specific, you'll notice these little arrows over here. So this will drill down to a more specific level within that category. All right. So within behavioral and social sciences, we've got things like anthropology, archaeology, and so on. Okay. So it goes from category one to category two. And then for most of these categories, there will be yet another level of subcategory called category three, and you would get to category three by clicking on this arrow on the right hand side. Okay, so within behavioral and social sciences, we selected counseling and counseling guidance, and then within that category, there are these sub keywords down here. And once again, you'll see that these are duplicated down here. So what I would do is put a check mark for the ones that I was looking for. And when I've made my selections and I'm ready to proceed, I would hit Save Selections and Continue. If I change my mind or I want to start over again, I can just go back up here and click on this Category 1 heading up here, and that kind of takes me right back to where I started. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do a quick search here. So let's say behavioral sciences, and I'm looking under counseling, and we'll just go ahead with these. All right, we'll hit Save Selections and Continue. Okay, so it's put my categories up here. And remember, these are connected by the word "or." And then I hit Locate Funding. Okay, so here are my 45 grant opportunities using using the keyword search mode. There's a second way to do a keyword search. So once again, you'll want to be in the keyword search mode, and then you hit Select Keywords. And you may have noticed before that when we did the search, we were in the Explorer tab. There's also a way to search using this Searcher tab. And here what they want you to do is start to type in your keywords. And then this autocomplete gives you the options that are indexed in that controlled vocabulary. So once I've got a list of options, I can hit Show Subset, and then these appear down here with the check boxes. So I put the check marks in there, and these go into my selected keywords box, and then I would just hit Save Selections and Continue. And then locate funding. And remember, these are connected by the word or, and I've got 155 funding options for those keywords. Okay. So that's a basic text search, a keyword search, and the third way of searching is what's called an advanced search. To do an advanced search, you would go up to the search module here and switch to advanced search. And once again, it double checks and makes sure that you want to proceed before changing your parameters and results. So this is what the advanced search mode looks like. And we're going to go ahead and start to type in some terms here. So let's say under full program contains, we're going to look for biology minus botany. Okay, so we're looking for grant opportunities with the word biology, but not the word botany. And then we want to add a second line. So we click this Add New. And once again, we've got the options for full program contains. We're going to change this to eligibility and does not contain. And then we'll type in the word student. We're going to add another line, and we're going to change this from full program to, let's see, let's try sponsor, and sponsor equal to, yeah, let's see, National Institutes of Health. And we'll go with that one there. And then we're going to go ahead and add one more. And we're going to make this sponsor also. And make that equals to, and let's try National Science Foundation. And one note about the Boolean logic, the connecting logic on these. The way this looks, the way this checks advanced searching, it looks in these vertical search fields. It goes vertically. And if these are different, it applies the AND logic. If they are the same, it's going to apply the OR logic. Okay, so it's going to look for biology minus botany, and eligibility does not contain student, and the sponsor would be National Institutes of Health or National Science Foundation. Okay, so we'll do locate funding. And we've got 145 funding opportunities down here. Okay. So those are the three ways of searching. And I mentioned before up here that there are some pre-selected search parameters already lined up. So if you are looking for searches that have new searches or ones where they've been recently modified, you could click on that. And then again, those are sort of searches that are pre-built. So new or modified within the past 7 days. Okay, so that's the first tab, which is the search tab. The next tab is the preferences tab, where you can set limiters or filters. Under preferences, you'll see things like applicant location, applicant type, project type, etc. And it doesn't really matter which one of these you click on, because once you select one, you'll see across the top horizontally, these tabs will reflect all those choices. So I clicked on location, so it defaults to applicant location, but I can easily switch between the other options as well. Okay. So how this works is I can start to type in words here, and that will bring up the words from the controlled vocabulary, or I can just go down to the box and select from the list. So for example, under Africa, I can either click on Africa and move that over, and you can see it expands your list here. So it shows you what are you choosing. You're choosing everything under Africa. So you've got the whole continent broken down into region, broken down into countries, and so on. All right. You can collapse that list. If I want to send that back over, okay, I can send that back over there if I change my mind, all right, by clicking these arrows. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either highlight it and drag it over, all right. You can send them all over, send them all back again using these arrows here, one at a time, or sending them all. All right. You can expand them all by hitting the expand button, or collapse them all, or again, do it individually by hitting these little arrows to expand each one. Okay. So those are your location choices. Your applicant type choices are here. I'm just going to go through these quickly so you can see what your options are. Project typed, project location, and these are constantly being updated. Okay, so the reason you'd want to maybe go back in and check on these or change these from time to time is because this is a dynamic database and this is being updated periodically. Okay, citizenship options, and then sponsor type. All right, so those are your filters and filter categories for under preferences, and then underneath the original list of preferences, there's another list of limits. And once again, it really doesn't make a difference which one you click on, because when you click on those, the other options are down here. Okay, so you can limit your search to newly created programs by the number of days, recently updated, again, by the number of days. We had those options before where it was 7 days. You can change that. Federal opportunities, include, exclude. So these are your filters and options and choices that you have. The last item under the Preferences tab is Export Data Options. This is where you select fields to be displayed in the preview pane of your results list, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's go ahead and we'll grab contact name. How about contact telephone? Contact email, and deadline dates would be important fields. We'll hit save and exit. So the data options preferences that I've just selected, as I mentioned, will display in the preview pane in my results list. So let's go ahead and rerun the search we ran before. All right, so this is my search results list. I've got 28 results. Scroll down just a bit here. And when I click on this little expansion arrow here, this will display the fields that I've just pre-selected. So I can preview specific fields by choosing those options, okay? If I wanted to look at all the ones in the results list at the same time, I can just put a checkbox here. And now you see this little preview pane displays showing those options that I've just pre-selected. The next tab is the Saved Searches tab. I don't have any searches saved yet, so let's go ahead and we'll save one. It's really simple to do. We'll just go ahead and run this previous search that we ran before. And all you need to do to save a search is just click on the Save button here to the right. Okay. Now it's going to ask you to name the search, and let's just name this one. How about rural opioids? We'll do that. And then there's a couple things you can do. You can receive email updates. So if there are any new funding opportunities that appear, you can get an email letting you know there's new grant opportunities based on your keywords. You can receive that email in HTML or plain text format, and you can receive those emails either daily or weekly. So it's a nice way to automate the process and get notices if there are new or modified grant opportunities. Okay, so we're going to save those changes, and I'm going to go back to the search mode just to kind of clear the screen out a little bit. Okay, so now when I click on saved searches, I see that rural opioids has been saved up here. So it's not a big deal now because there's only one, but let's say you have a dozen or 20 searches saved. This is a nice way to quickly go back to the search that you previously created. So what I can do is I can go up to the Save Searches tab, select a search that I ran previously, and then rerun it quickly right here. Let me clear my screen again here. You also have the option to manage your saved searches. So if you click on that, again, if I may have a list, you can see you can have, it looks like up to 100 searches per page. So I've just got the one, so rural opioid. So I can run the search from here again, or I can delete the search from this page. And it tells me when it's created and updated and that kind of thing. You may have noticed too under here there's an item called public searches. All right. These are searches that would have been added to Spin by the person at UNCW who administers Spin. Okay, so most likely none of us that are watching this video will have um, the authority, the rights to put a search in the public searching column here. But if there are searches populating that, those would come up under public searches. So you can see these have been created and added by the administrator of Spin. You can run these searches, but you don't have the authority to delete them. Okay, so you can see here there's no delete, only history. And the next tab is the funding alerts tab. If you remember previously, we had set up our email alerts. And here under manage funding alerts, you can change those if you want. So once again, you have the option of running the search. But here you can see it's called Smarts Automation. So you have the choice of running a funding alert daily or weekly. And you also have the option of that email coming to you in HTML, plain text, or RSS format. And that's the funding alerts tab. The next tab is the bookmarks tab. Right, so if I click on that, you'll see manage bookmarks, public bookmarks, and an item called nursing, which is a folder that I had previously created when I bookmarked some other grant programs. We don't really have any saved from this session, so let's go ahead and create um, a folder or a bookmark folder. So let's run this search one more time. And there's basically two ways to bookmark grant programs. One is from the results list, simply by clicking on this plus sign here on the right-hand column. Now, when I do that, it's asking me, do I want to create a new folder, a new group for this, or do I want to add it to the existing one? I showed you I have one called nursing here, but I want to create a new group for this. We're going to name this opioids and save the changes. So I've saved this grant into that new folder. Let's go ahead and save another one by using this plus sign in the results list. So anytime I do that, it's asking me, do I want to put this in a new folder or do I want to add this to one of the existing ones, which is what we're going to do. The other way to bookmark a grant program is from within the grant information itself. And you get that by clicking on the title or the name of the grant here. Okay. So if I click on that, that's going to open up the page with all the grant information in it. Okay, so you can see here's all the details for that particular grant. And as you recall, remember when we did that, the exporting those fields, we had like the funding, the name of the funder, and deadlines and those kinds of things. This is where those fields are drawn from, okay? Deadline, date, funding level, and those kinds of things. So to bookmark it from within the grant program information itself, you just click on that, bookmark program. And then once again, do you want to create a new group? No, we're going to add this to this existing folder and save that. Okay, so we just created a new folder and added, what did we add? Three different grant programs into that folder. Let's clear our screen. And if I go back up here to the bookmarks thing, you'll see that that opioids folder now appears. And when I hover over this, the name of the folder, you can see the individual grants that are in there. So I can just click on those to go back to those individual grant programs. This is one I created previously. Or if I want to manage those bookmarks, I can click on that. And here's the folders I created. So I can open up those folders or delete them from here. All right. And then before, when we had the save searches, I mentioned the public searches. Same thing with bookmarks. I don't have the authority to create public bookmarks, but the administrator of Spin does. So if that person puts bookmarks anything and puts it in the public bookmarks, it'll show up under that. Okay. So you can see there is one called undergraduate research. So I can certainly run that search to see what's in there. And I mentioned before, you can't really delete these things, but you can, for example, run the search, save it, and then modify it for yourself if you like to. Okay. You can't change the one that's in the public folder, but you can run it, rename it, and then make changes that way if you like what that other search has in it. Okay. So that's the bookmark tab. The last tab is the Help tab, where you can get some additional searching tips for the three different ways of searching. So you can see under text search, it gives you some tips for searching using the text search function, and likewise, whoops, excuse me, likewise for the keyword search, and then finally some last minute tips for the advanced search. And so those are all the tabs. And the final thing I wanted to show you were a few things you can do from within the results list or from within the grant program information itself. So working with the results list, one thing you can do is reorder the columns. So for example, by clicking on the header in this column, it's sort of a three-click system. By clicking on the header once, I can reorder these grant program names in alphabetical order. Clicking on it a second time puts them in reverse alphabetical order, and clicking on them a third time restores them to the original default settings where they were. Another thing you'll notice is each column has a little funnel, and when you click on those funnel, you get these options that you can change. Is equal to, is not equal to, starts with, contains. So let's say I did contains, I can say, for example, North Carolina, or North America, or whatever. Got and or, and then let's say I was looking for all the ones for a specific funder. I could say contains National Institutes of Health, those kinds of things. All right. Another thing you can do with the results list is, if you recall before, we pre-selected these fields to be displayed in this preview pane. We can take a look at those. And let's say I'd like to export these three. I just selected three. I'd like to export those. Two ways you can select them for export is you can click right around the spin ID number here, and you'll see that puts a check mark in this box, or you can simply go put a check mark in the box next to each one you'd like to export. So I've selected these three, and I go up here and I hit export. And I can export to Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, and I can either do a summary report or a detailed report. So let's go export a summary report in Microsoft Word. Okay, so you can see the kind of information you get. And if you wanted to add additional information, you could do that. You can go down here and say, for example, Bill, here is some grant information, so on and so forth. If you wanted to highlight the deadline date, you could do that. You can make that a different color, make it bold, enlarge it. Okay, so you can see the value of exporting these reports. And finally, from within the grant report information page, give it just a second to open up the page here. Okay, so you recall this page with all the grant information in it. In the upper left-hand corner, you've got your email option. You can email it as HTML or as text. So let's go ahead and each email that as an HTML. And so here's a way you can get information to somebody real quickly through email. And once again, you can highlight information if a date is important. You can highlight the date, make it bigger, bold it, change the color, those kinds of things. And you can add additional text up here if you were sending this to a person and you wanted to highlight any particular aspect of it. Just type that information here and then send it out quickly. So that's it. I hope this information was helpful to you. I'm going to go ahead and end this tutorial here. Bye-bye.